clear, preferably GIA, as Hajj need to be handled responsibly. The paper can also highlight that GIA is not anti-competition, but rather pro-Gambian. Page 17. Those as an experienced government entity in Hajj operations, we have the responsibility to help the government protect the Gambian through delivery of Hajj services to the Gambian pilgrims as it is of religious importance. I want to inquire whether this request has been sent to the government and what is their reaction to this.
Thank you very much for the question. I'm not privy to this letter being sent to the authorities, but what I do know is at one point when the issue of the quota allocation, I think there was a petition that was sent by the other travel agencies. They sent this petition to go, and they had this meeting with the executive then. So GIA was called to be part of the meeting, and the executive decided that GIA would have 700 out of the 2,000 allocation, and the balance was given to the other private operators. So, but the issue of a letter being sent with regards to this statement, I'm not privy to that. I've not seen that. Thank you.
But, this was in 2021. You met as a senior manager, and this was going forward. This is what you intend to do. And the request to me is very valid when you come to the handling of Hajj operations. But there are a lot of agencies that are not fully capacitated to take people from here to Saudi on pilgrimage. So you sending and requesting for this opportunity for you to be given precisely to handle this thing. It's important, as you already captured it in one of your activity report from 2021. And going forward, we've been seeing after 2021, you start the operation. There are a lot of issues confronting you here and there. Just to write this thing with the concept and make some justifications for government to allow you, because you need to be protected, even whereas there is competition, but this is government owned. The service is one, and the profit-making aspect is two, so that you can pay dividend. So without government protection, it's going to be difficult for you to be liquid as we expect. And again, if you leave our own Gambian in the hands of these suitcase entities that don't have the capacity, you find it very difficult. And people are subject to a lot of issues in that area. So if eventually they are going to resolve on you, so already you captured this thing without doing it, I think that would be a major problem. I don't know what led to that.
Yeah, I'm the honorable, so I think that I think it's an oversight, but management will definitely endeavor to address it. But one thing I know, GIA, Hajj is its major core competence. We have been involved in Hajj for several decades. And some of the examples that I can give that GIA has actually supported the successful implementation of Hajj is, even if you take example of last year, in terms of paying for the aircraft, it was GIA that had to actually do the initial deposit on behalf of all the operators in the country, including the private operators. And later GIA was actually refunded. As I said, over decades, GIA has the one that has actually been doing ground handling at free cost for all the aircrafts that land at Banjul International Airport, lifting all the pilgrims to the holy city of Mecca. That has been done every year by GIA. if you quantify or if you commercialize that cost, that could have been a revenue. That was an opportunity cost that GIA actually forgoes every year. So that shows that GIA's, how GIA's involvement in this whole activity of Hajj, the relevance and also the importance of it. Thank you.
Yes, this will be the final question from me. Let's look at your returns on total assets. Let's look at this ratio, please.
Give the corresponding page.
Yes, perfect. They are found on different pages. Let's look at the total assets at page 10. Total assets at page 10. Against total on the financial statement.
Yes, against total revenue.
Against your total revenue on page 16. Okay, I am being notified that, but however, let me not get to that. Silva has talked about this. So I have realized that this is way below average. If 5 would be a good point. 5 would be good, and 20 and above could be considered excellent. But you have 0.4421. That is not a good ratio. That is not a not a good ratio at all. So I don't know how well we try to work on that. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Finally, Mr. Chair, can you stand out for 2 minutes? We want to make some internal discussion and bring you in.
Yeah, including the team.
No, we are not adjourning. We want you to step out 2 minutes. Mr. Chairman, thank you. The House resumes. We made an internal consultation in respect to the reports. And we have resolved into adopting your reports, but with reservations. One, we want this issue to be resolved in the soonest possible. That is the service rule, that's the manual, to be aligned with the labor laws. So that in terms of the 40-60 can be resolved and do exactly what is entailed in the labor laws of the country. We are also looking at the prior year issues that are unresolved, to be resolved by the end of 2024. We expect those prior year that are captured continuously to come year in, year out, to be resolved and to be clear from your books by 2024. And under the management letter, in the management letter, highly rated adverse audit findings that are rated 1. There are 5 of them. And we expect them to be resolved by 2024. So, on that note, we thank you. We have finally agreed to adopt the reports. And before we make any communication, I want to invite the board chair to make a reaction to our decision.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and honorable members. It was an honor to interact with the committee and to share with you and respond to your questions. What you have resolved as conclusions very much fall in line with what management and the board have been discussing and have actually committed to. And happily we have a shorter timeline than what you have given, and we appreciate the position in this respect. I hope we have made it clear and plain the challenges that the company is facing. We are trying to strategize to see how we come out of this. But some of the actions required go beyond the means of the board or management. And that's why we're engaging government, as we explained. But we also hope that the committee, and by extension the National Assembly, would also take up the issues we discussed, which can support and assist the company in the interest of, in the national interest. The other remark I just want to make is, we've been talking of 2021. Most of this is water under the bridge. We couldn't precisely determine what has happened between then and now. Perhaps I was discussing with the auditor and saying, what can we do to bring us close to reality and make the reports more contemporary and more recent than having 3-4 years to look back on when things have happened. It's already gone, and then perhaps other developments have occurred. We have timelines in our performance contract for these annual reports that are due, when they should be, and that can hopefully catch up with the backlog. But at your level also, maybe in that respect, if it can be synchronized with your activities, that would very much help, I think, in the interest of all the SOEs. Talking on behalf of the board and management, I want to thank the committee once again. And as we take your invitation to engage you on our issues in due course, and hope we'll have that opportunity and means. I don't know how that can be done. Our normal reporting lines are the ministries and the executive, but any opportunity that we have to lean on the committee and assembly, we would very much appreciate your support on these matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I also want to especially thank you with your senior management, different heads of departments, and the able auditor that is here with us, the independent audit firm, my secretaries here, members of this committee, and that of the subject matter specialist representative from the National Audit Office, different media house here in present who are capturing every engagement that we are doing currently. I want to say good afternoon to you all. We are indeed very much happy, and the engagement were very fruitful. One important area that has been adequately discussed, that's the issue of the grant handling. The reason why it's not in the resolution, we want to first engage the civil aviation to know the more reason why this is done, so that we can hear from them, after which we'll make a decision. Though the process will take time, because normally in a year we have 4 ordinary sessions and we have 4 committee engagements. So as far as we are concerned, sometimes our process is very slow. But this is a matter of concern. After engaging them, we will see how best can we invite both teams together with the finance ministry to have a discussion around this thing, whether this issue can be terminated, and we put emphasis on the GIA to be in charge of the ground handling. It's a major revenue gateway, and if it has been taken out like this, because a chunk already 40% is lost. So who knows, by the next 2 years to come, most of these airlines will be dealing with the newcomer rather than the GIA. That will really definitely crumble GIA, which is not our intention. Currently, there are a good number of staffs, and the government is not ready to do the redundancy aspect of it. Because interestingly, if you look at the unemployment rate in the country, it's a major issue. So already people that are connected should see a way forward, how do we maintain them. grow from strength to strength rather than the issue of redundancy by our own actions. So that is the only issue that we will take it up. Other than that, I thank you so much for your cooperation, and sorry it has been a long day from morning. We've been talking here and there, issues that are captured in the various reports. So we really thank you for the compliance and the patience. This is a nation building, we are all part of it. We are also here, that is why some of our members, they are into other committees, and those committees are concurrently working with us. But they attach more importance to this committee. As we may understand, the state-owned enterprise constitute an important component of our economy. So that is why it has been a concern for us to have a frank talk on issues confronting you, so that we can improve upon it and make sure that you regain your position in the GDP component of our economy. On that note, I thank you so much, and I want to seize this opportunity to wish you safe journey back to your various destinations, whether you are going back to office or you are going back to home. And again, finally, I want somebody to move a motion for us to adjourn. Okay. Can someone move a motion for us to adopt with the reservation?
Yes, I hereby move the report and adopt with reservation.
Seconded.
Seconded. It has been moved and seconded. We adopt the report with reservation. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Can someone move a motion for us to adjourn? Till 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
Move and adjourn till 2 o'clock.
Any second? Move and seconded. We adjourn 2. Thank you so much. The House.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. I also report that a quorum does exist for the Standing Committee on Public Enterprises to commence business.
Thank you, Clerk. It has been reported a quorum does exist for the Standing Committee on Public Enterprise to commence business. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Can someone move a motion for us to adopt the agenda?
Yeah, but adopt the agenda as it is.
Any second?
Seconded.
It has been moved and seconded. We adopt the agenda as it is. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you so much. May I seize this opportunity to extend a warm greeting to each and every one of us here, particularly the board chair of the GIA and the senior management of the GIA, the audit firm, together with our subject matter specialists, our technician, and also the esteemed members of the Standing Committee on Public Enterprise. We are indeed very much happy. Before we go further, we still want to embark on our usual routine of introduction, so that we can know one another, not only by face, but by name, and probably our respective origins. I start with my humble self. I am Honorable Lamin Jesani, National Assembly Member for Brikama South, Chairman of this committee.
Good morning, Honorable Salif Jao Jokadu, and a member of this committee.
Assalamu alaikum. Honorable Almame Jiwa Fonyi Councillor, member of the committee.
Good morning. I am Lamin Sise, member for Kia West constituency and a member of this committee.
Good morning, Honorable Serif Sar, member for Joshua.
Good morning. I am Alhaji Omar Tal, subject matter specialist for the PEC committee.
Good morning. I am Fatmata Piesisa, Sergeant to the committee.
Good morning. My name is Ibrahim Jao, a clerk to the committee.
Good morning. I am Halimatu Tam, I clerk to the committee.
Good morning, and I am Fatmata Kera, clerk to the committee.
It's not very clear. I would like to can we also get the introduction from
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members, good morning. My name is Mamsi Jal, Gia Reports, Chairman Council, October 2023.
morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, board members, and senior management of GIA. My name is Teneng Bajaite. I'm the Vice Chair of the Board of Directors of GIA since October 2023.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Lumo K. Sani. I'm the MD of GIA as of the 1st of October 2023.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Swaibu Keta. I'm the Director of Finance GIA.
Good morning, honorable members. I am Aminata Blue Drame. I am the Director of Commerce for Gambia International Airlines. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Abdullah Traore. I'm the Director of Human Resources.
Good morning. My name is Mrs. Awasama Jeng, Director of Operations.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Abdullah Bob, Senior Travel Manager at GIA.
Good morning. My name is Bakari Bayo, IT Director.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Fatimata Aja. I'm a legal manager.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jide M. Sawane, Senior Manager, Commerce and Board Secretary, GIA.
Good morning. I am Idris Ikasano, Director of Internal Audit.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Babu Usman. I'm Deputy Managing Director.
Good morning. My name is Alibali, Finance Manager. Yeah.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Bakari Drami, Senior Finance Manager, GIA.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Omar Sise, Senior Station Manager at International Airlines.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bakari Sanya, Managing Partner, Foresight Accountancy and Audit Partners.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Next on the agenda is the administration of oath. Last time during the presentation, there were people that are on the oath and still that is maintained. But as you may be aware, today is the consideration. The response that we need from you are very important in consideration of this particular report that are before us. So any other person who is going to contribute in terms of response, in terms of clarification, will also be given the administration report. So if you have anybody that is going to take part in the discussion today, can stand up, the clerk will come to administer oath on the other guy. But the previous oath still we are maintaining.
We'll have the deputy chair, but in addition, we request that all the heads of sections, the unit departments, also come forward since we might need their contributions invariably.
So you will just stand up and you repeat after me. Yes, you want to do so. And you mention your names. You repeat after me, you mention your names. No, for us, yes, you are mentioning. I. Do hereby affirm that I will speak the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me.
Mr. Chairman and the team, we will now go into the discussion, but I want to emphasize on one area. The response that we are getting from you are very important, and these are the determinant of us considering this report. So we want you to feel free to give a detailed explanation about the type of question that will be imagined, so that we can be at the same picture in terms of understanding and how are you confronted. Despite I am made to understand that some of you are newly appointed, but nonetheless, your expert opinion on certain areas are very, very important. And we are here as a family, and we need to interrogate this aspect of it to make sure that we put the institution in the right perspective. So you are going to be free to explain every detail, and questions will be drawn. So on that note, I will open the floor for members to ask questions in any of the reports, starting from the activity report, management letter, and that of the financial statement. So we need your cooperation in terms of response. Thank you. I now open the floor for members to ask questions. Please.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. Yes, can we move to page 7 of the audit of the financial statement? Page 7. Yeah, management letter, yeah, where it says loans and advances.
Sure. Yes.
Yes, we want to be clear as per the loans that are specified in contrary to the requirement of stated in account policies and procedures. We've made to understand that recommendations were given for the recovery as soon as possible onto the account policy and procedures. We want to know how far in this.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We, as indicated before, our presence here before, we mentioned that we have a debt recovery team, that's a debt collection team. And last year, this was a report, they gave us a report last year around November. They've collected over $1 million from ex-staff's loans. So the debts are being recovered, so to speak. Thank you.
$1 million.
$1 million.
So meaning it's you've made full recovery of the total debt, or still you're confused?
The debts collected is a combination of different loans. Yes.
Yeah, I also want to declare these were audit queries that were made And you realize that they say there are 2 on staff, non-staffs. And if you look at the management response, it was saying that it has been corrected. In the case of 2 non-staffs, the ticket was reclassification error. That's what the management comment made. So how did audit arrive at this? And management was able to at least destroy in the first instance. We want to know what was the first beginning.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for that question. It was a posting error because usually when tickets are issued, and we have an automated system where we post these tickets. So it was a human error, postings happen and it was error and we didn't detect it until the auditor saw it. But when they saw it, it was brought to our notice and then we corrected it. So they are no more in the accounts codes mentioned in the report. Thank you.
All right. It's a quick follow-up on the same point. Let us be very clear here. The audit query is about that your accounting procedure manual states that employees have the benefit of getting airline tickets on credits. But however, during the audit, during the period under review, they have noted that 2 non-staffs of GI have benefited from these tickets. And what causes that?
Thank you very much for that follow-up question. As I stated, these 2 non-staffs mentioned, the tickets that have been given to them is in the normal course of the business, because usually business you can give tickets on credit, and that's what happened in this case. But what really caused this is the tickets have been posted in a staff account. They shouldn't have been posted in the staff account. They should have been posted in a normal ticket loan account. Well, that's what we corrected. So it's not happening as we speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On the same issue, I just want to inquire whether there was an audit exit meeting. Because normally this has been picked up by auditors and it was sent to you. There was an exit meeting and it's already captured here. And since you have made the correction, do you notify the auditors about this issue? Because if they have been notified, and they are very clear, it should not be in your book. And this is raising an alarm. During the audit exit, were you able to talk to them?
Yes, because this is an issue that has been picked during the audit. So what we do as management is to respond to the query. So in the subsequent audits, they will check whether these things have been sorted or whether they have been removed from the account. That's what we do. So in the subsequent audit, when they come, they will not find this thing in the books as it is.
No, but I mean during the exit meeting, they are adequately convinced.
Yeah.
This will go into reverse this capturing in your report.
Yes.
So that is why I am not too sure whether can immediate reaction from the auditor in respect to it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. As you've mentioned, these are 2 stand-on staff that were issued and their loans issued, the ticket loans issued to them were classified under the ticket loans, and they are non-staff, which is contrary to the procedures manual as we mentioned in our report. This was discussed in our exit meeting and management agreed that it was a posting error, should have been posted on the normal account receivable, but it was posted on the staff loan. And as part of our subsequent audit, which we are on at the moment at 2022, we've made a review of prior year issues raised in the audit. reclassification is done for these two loans from the ticket loan to the normal loan account. And we've noted one of the loan actually was paid in part, but the other loan is still outstanding. Nothing has been paid against that.
Yes. Yes, the same issue. Yes, in the same issue, the director, I want to be clear where it says the deduction period for sort of the timeline. I want you to put us to know, are we saying that you give loans without timeline? Answer that. And the other one also is instance of monthly deduction. We also observe that there are no deduction that were done in monthly concurrently. Maybe, for example, as an observation, this month is deducted, a month, 2 or later is not the other one. In finance management accounting procedures, can you tell us what went wrong under this effect?
So thank you very much for that question. For the first question you asked about the non-deduction of the loans, we have the previous service. We have a revised service rule. In the previous service rule, that's the old service rule. It's mentioned there that these loans can be given, but the period of deduction is not very specific, it's not very clear. But if you look at our current service rule, it's very, very clear as to the number of months or years that these loans can be deducted. So that is in our current service rule. The other questions which relate to why some of the periods the loans are not deducted. What we have in our institution is that usually every staff is given at least 2 months waiver, salary deduction waiver. So that really happens. Every staff enjoys that in a year. So that's why sometimes you have these non-deductions. Thank you.
So it means as for the previous service rule, staffs or members pay as they wish at their own accord of the coffers of GIA, in which has been happening for years. They realized later that we have to change the service rule to meet the demand of the applicants. Is it not the case where we have loss of revenue in GIA?
Okay, thank you very much. Of course, staffs have been deducted for these loans that have been issued. As a management, we have a responsibility. When loans are disbursed to staffs, they are recovered. So for all these soft loans, none of them are deducted over 48 months. For example, like educational loan, when it's given, it's deducted over 24 months. When personal loan is given, it's deducted over 28 months. When loans are consolidated, it's deducted over 48 months. That was happening. But some of the loans, for example, like the consolidated, it wasn't specified in the service rule that it's supposed to be deducted over 48 months. But now it's specified, so we don't have that problem. But we have a responsibility as management to make sure that these loans are recovered. So we don't have a period of loans deducted over not a non-specified period. That is not happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My follow-up question is on the same ticket loan. My question to the finance director or the MD is this. There is a query on ticket loans. And then if you look at it, it is highlighted very clearly. And then during your management comments, you made that there is a policy that is there to regulate and then guide you and then how to recover these loans. My question is, do you issue loan based on request? And if yes, do you give out loans while there are pending loans on the individuals when it comes to ticketing?
There is a policy in place in terms of issuing out ticket loans. I would say ticket credits for customers. Normally, when customers request for tickets on credit basis. They look at their credit history and to see whether they have any pending payments that they are liable to pay for the customer. It goes through that process until management is satisfied, then we can issue the ticket.
No, Chair, can we be clear with who are those individuals who are entitled to these ticket loans? Because, you know, if it is government officials or members of parliament or individuals who are taking loans from our institution and they are not paying it, let us be clear, because this is a national institution. It's a national resource. So we need to be fair in our dealings. Are these from government institutions or departments or individuals which are government officials or members of parliament? Let us be clear with issues, because if we want to brush the thing under the carpet, nothing can be clear. If people are taking ticket loans from you and they're not paying it, you want to sit on it. When you come here, we want to if we see it, we want to disgrace you and show it to the world because the camera is sitting. So let us be clear about how people are dealing with the national resources. Coming, taking tickets and you're not paying it, or they are taking it on behalf of people that comes to their office to say, okay, I want you to help me with a ticket. They say, go to GIA and please, managing director, give a ticket to this one person and later I will pay it. Can you please explain this to us? I think it needs to be clear.
As I mentioned earlier, there is a process in place. Those procedures are clearly spelled out in our procedural manual. As a business entity, customers, usually come to GIA and request for these ticket loans. It's not only public officials. Ordinary citizens come to GIA to request for these tickets, and they are all treated, at an arm's length in the normal course of our business. And we review their request, as I said initially. When it comes, anybody who requests for these tickets, we look at their credit history and look at whether they have any pending tickets that they are owing the institution. Until they are cleared, then it will go through the finance director for further review and to go through audit, and also to the MD for an approval. So it doesn't necessarily mean that people will just come and ask for these credit facilities and they are availed to them without usually going through the normal procedures as spelled out in our procedural manual. So we ensure that all those procedures are followed, as specified. Thank you.
Mr. MD, what do you say to the suggestion that one might sit in office and say, MD, give the ticket to this individual, either prior to your coming to jail or after your coming, and it has been given, and the subsequent time again, the party requested, it's been denied because the previous one has not been settled from a public officer. Has that happened to GIA? What do you say to that suggestion? And if that evidence is brought before you, what would be your reaction?
Well, during the tenure of my office, I think the finance director can be a witness with me, and also the commercial director is here, whose line of business is in ticket sales and reservations. Normally, when requests are made, what I normally insist is that we would want the credit history of that particular customer to see the previous credits that they have taken from GIA. And if it is a customer who has never dealt with the company, so we looked at certain criteria in terms of the capacity to pay what the person's, whether he's employed or not. So we looked at all of those things, but not at a time during my tenure that such requests have been brought without actually following the due diligence. And I'm pretty sure the previous years where I was not there, since the rules were in place, I'm sure the management team were also following the due process. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My final question relating to this particular area. I want to inquire what type of collateral is contained in the manual to enhance the recovery process of this.
In terms of collaterals in specific terms, we don't have, we have no specific, there is no specific collateral as per se that is secured against these credits that are issued against the tickets. But what we normally do as a prudential guide in the normal course of credit business is that we looked at the capacity, as I said. First of all, is to look at the capacity of the potential customer to see whether he has the capacity that he'll be able to pay these tickets. That is one. We looked at whether he's in employment, and we also looked at his relationship with GIA, and we also looked at other financial strengths that the customer has. So these are things that we looked at to ensure that there is a clear indication that the customer has the ability to actually settle. But specifically, we don't have any collateral as per se to see. What management has initiated recently is try and see whether we can implement guarantees. Where such customers have been availed such credits, guarantees would be used as a form of a collateral, wherein in case of default, we would have a fallback to recover our loans. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think MD must help us here, because with regards to loans and ticketing, especially on ticketing that have been issued to private individuals, I think it's going to be very important here, as you are newly into the system with your new board of directors. It's important to have either a collateral or something that can help you in case of any defaults tomorrow. Because the way I'm seeing things, if you go deep into your financial statements or on your report, you have a lot of bad debts, and then when bad debts are not recovered, what do you hold? What do you have in hand to say, this is what I can have to recover my debt from somebody who is just a businessman? I can be a businessman today, and then things are working very well with me. But give me a year, things can turn around. And if it's turn around, where are you going to bank on me to say, if without this, we're going to hold this individual here? Will you be negotiating with me all the time? Hope that I'm not going to bring the company to a bigger loss at the end of the day.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think you are absolutely right. As I said, having reviewed, the whole process of this credit of tickets, management, taking it to management, what we are trying to, in fact, the process has already started to implement. That is to put guarantees in place. That is all these ticket loans. When we're going to be issuing credits to customers, whether they have a good credit history or not. One of the things that we're going to put in place is collateral in the form of guarantees. We've already engaged our legal manager who is working on guarantees, drafting guarantees that we will review at the management level to be secured against any credits that have been issued. So that is going to be something that we will definitely implement. And hopefully, when we come back, these are some of the improvements that we're going to see. And I, of course, agree with you. In the course of credit, particularly if you don't want bad debts to increase or to be easily recoverable, it is good to have such instruments in place. And this is definitely that we're going to implement as soon as possible. Thank you.
Is it on the same issue?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That will be the final question.
Oh, okay.
But this issue is that.
Yeah, MD, thank you actually for those succinct explanations. So during your during your explanation, you did make mention with regards to the idea of the loans, right? My question would be, is there or was there any internal policies or procedural settings that indicates or guides the institution with regards to requesting certain information from these loan applicants with regards to issuing them these tickets? Are there any tangible documentations we might see that are requests from your institution to these individuals, searching for their eligibility to be able to be given these tickets? Because as far as I'm concerned, from your explanation, I don't see there is no internal policy or guide institutionally that warrants you guys to be giving out these loans actually. So my question from your answer derives from your answer actually. So my question, just to reiterate, is were there any prior guide internally with regards to how you guys request this information from these individuals, and if possible, are there any tangible evidences that we know of this?
Yeah, I would say there is no tangible evidence to show that these processes are in place in terms of what we ask from these customers who normally request for these credits. But as I stated earlier, having reviewed our processes and procedures, particularly relating to credits, some of the initiatives that we have actually taken is to correct some of these exceptions that have been raised in this audit. And one of those actually includes trying to put in place how, when people usually request for these ticket loans, what are the considerations that we actually give in terms of looking at the customer's background, financial strength, that is the capacity or the ability to pay. So these are criteria that are usually applied now when we are actually assessing eligibility of customers accessing these ticket credits. And of course, in terms of the procedures, we are in the process of trying to update our financial procedure manual. Some of these things will all be included in our revised procedural manual. So I think henceforth we will definitely see an improvement in the procedures. And anyone actually that is involved in the process of issuing tickets on credit basis, all those procedures will be followed. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, this is trying to manage time. But Chair, excuse me, finally, the matter in question has been widened a little bit to credit, to ticket loans. But however, the issue specifically tries to highlight that this is talking about loans given to staff as ticket. But these loans given to staffs in credit form was issued to 2 non-staffs. But the finance director explained that this was a posting error, which I'm not convinced with, because you don't have specifics about how you go about these loans in the procedure manual. As a result, you're trying to review. So we don't want to have cases where these issues will repeat and you will lean behind posting error. How are we convinced that this was a posting error? If there were procedures, this is how you deal with staffs and this is how you deal with non-staff when it comes to ticket loans, then we will be able to look at the records of these individuals who have benefited from this and to establish that, looking at the procedure, their collaterals, their guarantors and all that, probably they might be different from the way you deal with internal staff. So we can be able to conclude that this was a posting error. But just to tell us it was a posting error is not convincing at all. The matter in question is not about all the loans. It's about the staff to benefit from something, but non-staffs have benefited from that. And you claim that was a posting error instead of being on private people's individuals' loan, but it has been posted under a different place. What is the evidence, and what can you think can convince us that this was a posting error? Because you cannot tell us verbally it's a posting error and you want us to believe that. As Parliament, we cannot take that. What do you have to put before us so that we can be able to be convinced that this was a posting error?
Thank you. I would respond, maybe in addition, my finance director would have a contribution towards that. I think in accounting, we have to look at things in perspective. Because one, these are two different transactions that may have similarity. One, the loans that are actually talking about the staff loans, and also the tickets that we issue to these customers. The tickets that are issued to customers on credit basis normally should go to credit sales. When you credit sales and you should debit your receivables, these are two different ledgers. And of course, as human beings in accounting, if all these manual postings are done, nobody can say that you can get it 100%. That's why we have controls in place. If postings are done, you have reviewers there, and you also have approvers there. So if we are saying that the thing has actually before, instead of posting as receivables, if they are posted as loans, I think that is an error that is actually, it may not be acceptable on general terms or maybe on frequent terms, but it is an error that you can say in any accounting process. It is something that can actually happen. Because ledgers, these transactions have similarities, although they have different ledgers. As I said, any credit sales, you debit receivables and you credit, for the credit sales. In our system, in our accounting system, that is how it is actually treated. In this particular instance, these tickets that have actually been issued to these two non-staffs, instead of crediting the credit sales, instead of debiting the receivables, we debited the loans as staff. So that is the misclassification there. And I think, we also all have to be aware, in any accounting process or in any accounting system, misclassifications are usually bound to happen. It's just, down to now how your controls actually are strengthened to be able to pick up some of those errors that usually happen. And as the finance director said, these have all been corrected since then. They have been pointed out by the auditors and we've been discussed with them. And thereafter, all the credit sales that have been done to non-staff have been rightly posted, and no exceptions have actually been made. Thank you.
Yes. This is well answered.
Thank you very much, Chair. On page 12, on the same report, there was a query on the net take home from the auditors. And then the response, if you look at the response of the management, is about the point mentioned above, exceptional circumstances and will not happen again. My question here is about on page 12. Page 12. The question is, this was a loan given. I don't know whether it was to a junior staff or a senior staff. But because I think before loans are given, there are criteria that need to be followed. And then whether the guy is owing or what is his home take with regards to what is about to be given will match. But if you give in a loan to somebody, at the end of the day, he is going home with below the threshold that that somebody should go home with. What will there be any benefits of the of that individual, or will not tempt the individual to come back on other loan again? Because like giving somebody a loan, taking the loan and also solving a problem, and at the end of the day, another problem emerge again because your take home is very small. So were you given to a senior staff or a junior staff? Because for me, I'm seeing it as maybe he was there to favor somebody because he's in need and then he's a senior staff, or was there any malpractice that happened during the process of giving out the loan? Because the account department should have looked at it properly and said, no, we cannot give this thing out now because currently you are below the threshold or you are already owing. Was it passing owing and then he needs another loan to cover up this previous loan and then have something in hand? What was the problem? What was the reason why it happens? Why?
As I said before, thank you very much, Honorable, once again. As I said before, each staff, you are entitled to have 2 deduction waivers in a year. That's 2 deferral in a year of your loan deductions. So you cannot exceed that. But as I said, it's bound to be human errors. These things sometimes it can escape me. I will not be able, because we have a lot of staffs and many of them apply for these things. So sometimes it can escape me. But most of the time, we do check for this. If you apply for a waiver, it comes to my office, I will send it to internal audit department for them to make a verification. So once they verify that this person has 1 or 2, or he has exceeded, they will say, okay, he has exceeded the deferral and he will be denied. We have instances of that. But sometimes human error can happen, and maybe this is one of those instances. Thank you.
I think this one I point out to internal auditors. I think they are around. The director is here. Next time we need to go through things before, assuring the director to issue our loan, because these are issues that you need to regulate first before approvals are given. It comes to your end as an internal auditor to look at it and say, yes, this guy is fit to receive, or it's not in the position of receiving on the loan again. I think next time we have to go through everything before being given the approval to the director of finance, because that's why you are there. Thank you.
Yes, I will talk about this same matter that he is talking about. Let us be clear with your loan. How many % do you give as loan to your staffs within their gross salaries?
Is there 40%?
60% of the take home is given as loan.
Qualified.
After the deduction of the loan, monthly. Okay, what is the regulation?
So 40%.
Okay.
Is total loan deduction.
Yes, 40% is the total loan deduction. That's monthly. Okay, what is the regulation? What does the regulation say with respect to this? Employees' monthly take home against the deduction.
That should be 60%.
It should be
64. Your take home pay should be 60%.
Against Labor Act. That's what I'm talking about.
This is what is in our service rules.
Service rule against our national policy.
This has been in our service rule for the longest time, and this is what I find.
But against our national regulation, our national policy, that's what I'm saying, which says employees' monthly take home should not be deducted more than 1/3 of the person's take home. You cannot deduct any individual beyond 1/3 of the person's monthly salary, even if you made internal arrangement with that individual because of the financial ties of the staff. However, if the person complains before the law, that arrangement you've made internally is void. Are you aware of that? If you are, why do you do this?
Well, as I said, this policy has been there for the longest time. For me, we can never change it as far as I know.
You've not answered my question. You're subjecting your staffs to something which is wrong. One, you're deducting them more than 1/3 of their salaries. That's wrong. And now, I want to be clear. staffs are entitled to how many months of their gross salaries as loan?
Each staff, the loans that are given to staff, they are in different kinds. As I said before, we have the educational, we have national, we have the humanitarian. And these loans, sometimes the deduction period varies.
Forget about deduction now.
So what I'm saying is the decision of deducting the loan, the 40%, 60%, has been a policy there for the longest time. Yes, the national policy says as one time, but we are not doing that.
That's wrong.
Yeah, we are not doing that.
That's wrong.
The policy we have is a management policy, and it has been there for the longest time.
Do you agree that what you're doing is wrong?
We thought as management, it's prudent what we are doing.
Caesar, can I come in?
Yes, I want just to clear things. Honorable Chair, please excuse me. Do you agree that that's wrong?
Well, if it contravenes the national policy, yes.
Perfect. Then what a professional answer. I was not talking about deduction now. I said, well, because some institution will say 6 months of your gross salaries is what you entitled to as loan annually, or 4 months of your gross salaries is what you entitled to as loan, or 8 months of your gross salaries is what you entitled to as loan, and the deduction is made within this period, and this percent of your salaries will be deducted so that you can know that the recovery can be done within a year, okay, or within 2 years, without harming that individual. But none of these things has been put in place. You do referral, and those arrangements, are things that are not very much clear. So what I was asking, you don't answer. I asked that how many months of employee's gross salary is the employee entitled to as loan? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, thank you very much. What you do when you apply for, we don't look at like 6 months or 12 months of your salary for your eligibility. What we do is the 40 and 60% criteria. That's what we do. We make sure that your loan deduction is not more than 40%. Your take-home pay at any point in time, if you are deducted for the loan, is 60%. That's what we do. That's the criteria we use. So if you apply, for example, 50,000, okay, we look at your salary and calculate 60%. If it falls below the 60%, we know that you are not eligible for that particular loan. So that's the criteria we use, not the 6 months or 12 months criteria.
Yes. In connection with this particular subject here, like if you look at this particular area, there is management response. The point noted above are exceptional circumstances and will not happen again. And what is the implementation? Is your service rule in conformity with the labor laws of the country?
As Honorable Member rightly stated, the labor laws of the country is 33.3%, which is not, our own service rule is not in conformity with the current law.
Mr. Board Chairman, I think this is a serious level because I know all the service rule has to be in conformity with the national laws. What are you doing in going forward in trying to bridge this gap?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We as a board have engaged management and a key item on our work plan for this quarter of the year, this fourth quarter, really is to address, go back on all these audit issues. We know already 2022 is ongoing, but to see where we are at exactly and precise on this, in terms of policies, in terms of regulations, and also their implementation. So we have set timelines within the quarter in agreement with management for the revision of the policies to align them with as they would be required. So we hope that by the end of this fourth quarter, we'll go through that process.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I know you have a lot to do here. And these are already captured in the audit report of GIA and posing a lot of negative picture outside. Even whereas if you want to partner with other donors and you have this type of issues in the book, you find it difficult to attract them. And this has been flagged in 2021. We are in 2024, which the point has been noted. I know your tenure is not, has just started. I think these are some of the points that you will be able to make sure that they are addressed, or you look at ways and means how are you going to write them off. Because without that, it's going to be a problem. So you have to engage them and make sure that you fast track these issues. And not even this, there are prior year audit issues that are not resolved. They are still appearing in your book. So these are major issues that we need to intervene in the soonest possible time to bring in. Then, comments?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think this is about the act and the policy of GIA. The policy that is guiding GIA, and then the act also is an act of parliament. And I think the legal department will be helpful here. I don't know whether you are currently engaging with the legal department to see how best you can regulate your policy based on the act, because if you have the policy that is guiding you and is defining with the act, this is why this problem is happening. But the legal department is there to guide you. I think it will try to move away from this kind of issues that are happening currently, because it's like you are doing it based on your policy. And then, I don't know who drafted the policy, but during the drafting, we are able to merge the two, both the policy and the act. But as far as you have a legal-minded somebody, I think it's important you involve the legal-minded part in chair, so that this kind of issue will not happen again. This is just an advice that I'm giving to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Gia.
Sorry.
That's the next question, huh?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chair. Financial statement, page 23. There you have note 15.1.1. Yes, Senate Bank dollar account. Yes, 23.
Financial statement.
Where we have?
15.1.1, Zenith Bank dollar account.
Okay.
I have seen that GIA contracted a loan with Zenith Bank amounting to $2.2 million, and the payment period was supposed to be 7 years. Now, I just want to inquire from board and management, when was this loan contracted, and how far have you gone with the payment of this loan? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for that question. This loan was contracted about, if I'm right, 2014 for the construction of the corporate complex, the new building just at the entrance of the airport, Banjul International Airport. So, but as we speak, the loan is fully liquidated. It's not in our books right now anymore. Yes, it's fully liquidated.
Okay, come in.
Thank you very much. Yeah, on the same book, going to page 9, on the income and expenditure. Page 9. Okay. Income and expenditure. If you look at the turnover, and you compare the 2 years, 2020 and then 2021. In 2020, there was an income of 94.114. In 2021, there was an income of 148,533. That gave us a 36% increment on your income. But looking at your expenditure, that's the cost aspect of it. If you look at your cost aspect of the same year, you have 169,796. That's 2020. And then in 2021, you have 333,201, giving you 49% on cost. The same year, on the same page, on your turnover. Let's come to turnover. Turnover, you have seen turnover. You have 148 and then 9914. 9414. Then if you go to this thing, how to call it, on your cost, the increment of 49%, if you go to cost, have you seen the cost? Yes. Yes, you have almost 33202 on your cost. So there was an increment on cost of 49%, almost 50% of your cost. So what was management doing? Was there any plan on regulating? Because it's like here you are receiving and you are spending more. What was management doing in trying to regulate or maximize costs to at least, because if you come to the end point of your profit, here you have only 1.1 as a profit. There was proper management on cost. Because if you look at other operational costs, you have 112, that was fine. You come to gross profit on losses, you have 95.2, that was also fine. But coming down to expenditures, you have personal cost, negative. You come to admin cost, negative. You come to depreciation, negative. So in total, it's like the management of cost was not properly going the way we expected it. How many there was proper management on the interest expenses and similar charges of -9. How many there was a proper control on all these things? I think your profit should have been more as we have seen today. What was the cost?
Thank you very much. To start with, from the turnover, from 94 jumping to 148. If you recall, 2020 there was COVID. That was COVID-19. So COVID-19, when it happened, we all know what happened at the airport. We all knew then what happened at the airport. So going into 2021, we had flights, but it was not normal. Because in a normal operation, our revenue would have been more than 148 million. But we had flights, but it was not business as usual. Because still then we had the effects of COVID. This is why you see the movement in revenue, not material enough. When you look at the expenditures, personal costs I've checked it. If you refer to note 6, it's on page. Note 6 is on page 17. Yes. So when you look at the increment, it's materially based on pensions. On pensions. Pensions, yes. Probably if you increase the number of staff employed, obviously pension has to increase. So that must be the reason. They need to jump in that because it's 37.8 to 38.5. So for administrative costs, that one has reduced. You can see from 55 to 46. So the other one is depreciation. So of course, if you purchase more equipment, your depreciation, of course, it has to increase. That's natural. That's just the reason for this one. Going to interest expense and similar charges. Again, 2021 was not an easy year for GIA because of the effects of COVID-19. We had plans to replace our capital equipment because GIA as an institution, if you don't invest in your equipment, you can easily go out of business. But at that time, it was very, very difficult. We cannot use our internal funds to buy these equipment. So what we did as management at that time was to engage the banks. And of course, if you take this loan from the banks, it attracts some kind of finance cost. So that's the reason you see the jump in terms of interest payments.
But if you look at your interest, you go back to receivables. Look at your receivables. There's a big jump from 2020 to 2021. The receivables that you have. I think that those ones we are recovered. I think we have covered this issue of bank interest. So it's like the way your receivables are to be flowed, are not properly flowed. So I don't know what is the problem with your receivables, because there's a jump from the amount of receivables. You go, I don't know where you can go through the and see what's happening there.
So receivable is now 12. Note 12 is on page 20.
Page 20. Yes, page 20, yeah.
Yes. So it's from 82 to 94 million.
94 million.
Yes. So what I realize is GIA, we have this credit policy of 60 days, and it's a standard in the aviation business. You know, if you invoice airline, before you recover your money, it takes usually 60 days to get your money back. So for example, in November, if you send airlines to bills in November, you are expected to get this at the end of January. Sometimes it falls into, at the end of December. Sometimes it falls into January. So this is why you see that the 2 months invoices, January, December, and November, they will be part of the sales receivable, because at that, most of the time they will not pay until after 60 days. So this is why you see this jump. But going into February, most of these loans would have been received.
Director, for me, I mean, I'm not able to complain, because I mean, if you look at like the 2020, the receivables were how much? Almost 148, 240.
Yes.
And in 2020, because I mean, for me, when I look at the statement, it's like, yes, it was in 2021, and we are currently in 2024. It's very difficult to talk about the company's financial status, because we currently don't know what's happening. But if you base it on this, there is a problem. Because if you are being owed, the one owing you is not paying, and let's say the following year, you are still being owed up to a different, there's a grab there, you don't know something, almost 20 million. And still they are not recovering those amounts. So I think it was important to put in place, and where you have a recovery team, led by the legal department, you should have a different follow-up and chase your debt. Because if people are not paying you on time, it's not also helping the company. Because this is are still pending. And yes, you go back to your interest to banks. It's almost 9 million as interest on banks. These are the loans that we are waiting from the banks. And this could have covered those interests. I think that would have helped you based on your profit. But if these things are not going to cover, at the end of the day, you are just not running out of profit. When there is already money lying down there for you, that's not coming. So I think the best thing is to look at the system properly and see what you can do with that decision. Because these things are very key. Because if you look at, you have what I say, they're still there, both on trade, receivable, and also provisional for bad debt. And then also the bad debt, also credit bad debts. Still, it's like the bad debt, only they don't think what was recovered from the bad debt. Those bad debts are still lying down there. Who are the ones owing you? Who are these people that are owing you? And then you are not even recovering much. Because it's like only recovered less than $1 million on the bad debt, and it's still there as bad debt. How far have you come with these bad debt issues?
Thank you, Honorable Member. It's, on the issue of the trade receivables, you are right. The amount is quite significant looking at our operations. But this is dating back to 2020, 2021, which these figures relate to. Currently, there are certain things that are in place that have already been started implementing in terms of ensuring that the receivables days in hand is, is shorter compared to before, and also matches, also the other side. So in terms of the bad debts, also have a committee that is in place that is very proactive in terms of trying to recover some of these loans. As he rightly mentioned previously, last quarter, the recovery amount from some of these some of these outstanding debts went up to about 1 million. And this committee is actually working so hard. Now they are now well restructured, more empowered. The resources are actually provided to ensure all those outstanding loans, we try and recover them as much as possible. So the system is actually in place, as you mentioned. Although before looking at the figures, they look very significant. But currently, what is actually in place in terms of what we have implemented and what is the current status of some of these accounts have significantly improved. Thank you.
Yeah, on the same page, training on the receivable also, I have a question here with regards to National High Commission accounts. Why is it not on the receivable? I'm a bit confused. I want clarity here on regards to National High Commission account. Is that a separate account that you are taking money from the High Commission? Or I'm not clarity that, but it's a bit confusion. Why is it on the receivable?
Yeah, of course, they've taken this is regarding tickets. They've taken tickets from us and they have to repay it.
They have taken
tickets
from you?
Yes.
And you are expecting them to pay back?
Yes.
About prepayments?
Prepayments is regarding insurance, because those are periodical. They are not annual. Insurance and rent. So
yeah, insurance.
Yes, insurance prepayments. Yes.
Insurance with who?
Insurance for our equipment.
For your equipment?
Yes.
So who is to pay?
So we have an insurance broker that we pay. Insurance is usually, this is annual account, but insurance payment is based on period. So if we are doing annual, it's 12 months, and the insurance payments, part of it falls in the other year. So for example, it's 12 months, but it's period. From 9 months in the current year, and the other 3 months falls in the other year.
Yeah, my question is about the insurance on the receivable. So you are talking about insurance. Are they the one paying you, or you are not paying now?
It's a prepayment. It's like you are paying in advance.
You are the one paying?
Yes, you are paying. It's an accounting term.
No, yeah, because we still talk about accounting. I know you are no accounting for more than 3 years. My question is, they are on the receivables.
Yes.
So are there money lying down for you that you are already paying in advance, waiting to recover it over? Because it's on the receivables. Receivables mean it's to come to you. So, but if you are saying insurance, for me, if I am insuring something, I'm the one giving it out. Basically, to pay it out.
Yes.
So why is it on the receivable? That's my question.
This is what I'm saying. In accounting, you can do that. If you pay in advance, you paid for a service, but the service you have not yet benefited from it. It's like you paid the service in advance. So you place that item as a prepayment in your books.
So these are the services from
you pay in advance?
Yes. This is why I said it's period. It's a period. We are looking at 2021. So the insurance payment is a period payment. 9 months into 2021 and 3 months into 2022. So the 3 months that falls into 2022, that's what we are recognizing as a prepayment. That's a service that we have not yet enjoyed in 2020.
Yeah, you have not enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it's still service that is to be given to you.
Yes.
So you put it on the receivable because it's not coming to you as money. Because it's not still paid to you. You already paid for a service. And then that service is being taken care of. Yes. That's not that you need to put on the receivable. But that's a bit confusing. Because when you talk about receivable, it's something that is people to receive.
Okay, I think thank you, Honorable. You are right. I see the point that you are actually driving at. Because receivables, of course, and you have repayments, normally different classifications. But based on, since they are audited accounts and we are seeing prepayments there, naturally it could have been the net effect of the payments, but I'm not in a position to answer that. I think the external auditor is now missed, so maybe he can better clarify this classification.
Okay, then external, can you please help me, please? Because there is confusion here.
Before the auditor, Honorable, I
Yeah,
think,
okay.
Guys, you want to
Yes. Good morning, honorable members. The insurance contract, it's for the year April, March 2022, 2020, 2021, 2022. So when we pay the insurance for that year, that means we're only eating March 2022. We're only spending 3 months. So the other 9 months has been prepaid, has been paid in advance. So the insurance we have not yet covered the period for 2022. So it should be a prepayment, it's just like an advance payment. That's why it's on the receivables.
Yes, let me allow you to explain because it's like...
I think, as I said before, normally some of these things, payments and receivables, as you rightly said, in any financial statement, they should be separated.
Exactly.
But as I said, since the external auditor is in our midst, maybe he can better explain why actually they are mixed. But I'm sure there is a better explanation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for that clarification you raised. And I think basically they've explained what the prepayments means, and you clearly understood that. If you look at the main heading, which is Note 12, is trade and order receivables. And you are absolutely right, and we could have Note 12.1 and then 12.2, which would have to have the order receivables, just like it is mentioned on the Note 12 as trade and order receivable. So we could have 2 notes, 12.1 and then 12.2, to make the presentation easier.
No, on the same page, please. Let me get the page. On the same page, yeah. The same page, on the same page. I have an issue on the staff of interest. I mean, the Director of Finance. On your interest, you had 332 on 2020, and then 115 in 2023. It's like almost 40-something% difference. What was the issue? Was it that staffs were not given loans anymore, or there was an embargo on loans, or what happened? Because looking at the difference in interest, there's a big gap. What was the problem?
Thank you very much, Honorable, for that question. The loans that attract interest is usually consolidated loans, car loan, and building loan. So these periods, our finances are not strong to give out loans that attract interest. Like car loan that was given was not very material, and also the building loan was never given. So the staff that enjoyed it have been given this loan, and the deduction, the period that they have been given these loans that attract interest was over a decade. So that's why we have this small interest coming from staff loan interest.
So is that a embargo staff loan? Or is you give out loans?
Yeah, a very small amount that was being given to a very small number of staff.
Are you fair to the staff? Because it's not motivates the staff. Because by giving staff loans, it is there to motivate the staff and then make them move it, unless you deprive them from other things that we are illegal to be taught. Because I think staff loan helps the staff to be well motivated to do.
Yeah, I think that my MD here is doing very well in that, because when he even came, he has asked, most of our senior management, they had issues with their vehicle. So he was even asking why we didn't buy, a vehicle for our staff. But again, you have to assess yourself, whether you have the finances, and you have to have priorities. When you have been, problems of equipment, you have to give staff that huge amount of loans where you can invest in other areas.
Yeah, that's not bad. But I think the new MD must be the new chair. I know they will make it possible to help the company come back to this normal level, and it's what you can do for your staff, because there are also people that are very important in your midst to at least be motivated, give it out their best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair. At the same place, there is no 12.1 trade receivables, where you have state aircraft. I've seen that in 2020, it was 18.8 million, and the same figure in 2021. Now, so it means that between 2020 and 2021, there was nothing that entered into your coffers. Now, I'm just asking, what can you furnish this committee when it comes to the state aircraft? What is the fate of this state aircraft?
Thank you very much. Once again, the issue of state aircraft, I think this is the third session we've discussed this issue. We've communicated this to the ministry and the OP that are responsible for this, but we're not having any positive news from it. So that's what is happening.
But what can you do so that at least you're able to do something pertaining to this state aircraft? Because I think it's just grounded there for years now. Whether you can put it back to normal, or if you cannot, why not you just sell it out so that you can at least have money?
Yeah, let me just make it clear. This 18 million is not the cost of the state aircraft as an aircraft. This is relating to the finance arrangement that we did on behalf of, on behalf of the former president on the state aircraft. So when we do the pre-financing arrangements, they usually refund us. So, but in the case since since he left, the issue was communicated to the relevant authorities about the figure, but nothing has been done since then.
Thank you, MD. The same financial statement. Let's go to page 16. Yes, if you look at ground handling from 2020 to 2021, the corresponding year, you look at the revenue, because the chunk of the revenue is coming from the ground handling. 139 million, and 2020 is 88 million.
Page 16 of what?
Page 16 of the financial statement. Have you seen it? What happens if there is a competition in ground handling?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for raising that question. I think this is evident from the financial statements that GIA, the bulk of our revenue is centered around ground handling. And of course, the message here is that without ground handling, there is no GIA. And that is a clear indication as the figures are actually showing us. As you asked, if there is a competition in ground handling, if that competition is not properly managed, it may create a lot of problems with GIA in terms of survival and in terms of sustainability as a commercial entity. because we also need to understand the current situation of GIA. Recently, GIA has signed a performance contract with the government of the Gambia, so which invariably makes it a commercial entity. The expectation from the government is that GIA should pay dividends to the government, and if the source of those revenues are actually blocked or paralyzed, then which means that the purpose of that performance contract would be defeated. Because I think the main objective of the performance contract is to ensure, to inject efficiency in public enterprises so that they will be able to perform efficiently, create revenue, and give back those revenues in the form of dividends to the government, so that the government can inject the same dividends and committing them towards improving the society in terms of social projects and the like. So, if there is a competition, as I indicated before, within the ground handling space, definitely we are just creating a problem for GIA.
Thank you, MD. I think I have some follow-up questions relating to this. I want you to be very plain and give us your perspective. Of course, you talk about the performance contract that have been signed. And dividend payment is a core message of any state government. But the way things look like, there is a problem. And that is why there is this initiative of coming up with performance contract. What I want to inquire, whether actually not only the financial gain component of the ground handling, is it also true that this can also put the country at risk in terms of security? Because I vividly remember there were instances whereby our returnees from Germany, 2 flights, they came and they were not allowed to land. So if a private cargo handling is given to people, especially from that end, don't you think that will also compromise the security component of the country?
Honorable member, you are absolutely right. Insecurity is one issue. Security is one issue, definitely, which is attached to ground handling. And of course, if it is regularized, in a way that is not properly controlled, it can definitely put the country at risk. Looking at currently what GIA does, I would even take an example of the national Hajj, that what we do. GIA provides free handling to all the aircrafts that are lifting our pilgrims from the Gambia to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia at no cost to GIA. Of course, if you quantify that, it's a cost. We are giving that up in the national interest just to support the government and to ensure that the Hajj package actually is reasonable to ordinary Gambians. If that is actually, if ground handling is given out to a private entity, whose main objective is profit driven, rather than also looking at other social considerations, I think that aspect of improvement, developing our society too, can be also compromised. Moving away from that, as you said, looking still on the social aspects, GIA, looking at the number of Gambians who are employed by GIA, and of course the associated services that relates to the services that GIA delivers. If GIA does not actually exist or is paralyzed in its operation in one form or the other, so many households in the Gambia would be affected. That can go a very long way, and care also needs to be taken along that line, because we will be seen as providing services, making money, but the social commitment, our contribution to social development, I don't think that can be comparable to any private entity that may come into play in this ground handling aspect of the business. Thank you.
Thank you, MD. You are perfectly right. GIA is an act of management with a clear mandate in 3 specific dimensions. You talk about recruitment in terms of staffing. That is a mandate, which a lot of people are dependent on GIA as a source of living. So, 2, the service you provide, a qualitative one for that matter, and payment of dividend. These are very, very true when it comes to the use of GIA. But before contacting this private company, I want to inquire, 1, whether you have been contacted. Did you obtain a contract document from the award of the ground handling? 2, and when did they start operation? So we want to know all these things because we believe that as far as the country is concerned, our major assets need to be protected.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. As far as I know, and also the members of my management team, GIA was not properly consulted, or if not consulted at all, at the point that, when this initiative has actually been planned in terms of opening the space of ground handling for entry of a private entity. So no proper consultations was made. GIA was not involved in terms of at least engaging them, inform them that what the intentions are. That is, trying to liberalize the ground handling. There is a new competitor is coming up. So that consultation is no formal consultation as far as we are aware, and no formal engagement as far as we are also aware.
Mr. Chair,
how does it obtain in other jurisdictions of the ground handling? Do you have various competitors, or you have a national one?
In other jurisdictions, I think ground handling, as we said, is respective for the country where actually is operating. In certain jurisdictions, is a protective business line, because you also have to look at the interest of the country. And this particular context, if you look at the Gambia in particular, looking at the volume, our passenger volumes that comes through to the Gambia, looking at the aviation industry, the size of the aviation industry, and the operations that we have here, can it really accommodate many players within the ground handling space? So that economics also is also taken into consideration for those countries that usually consider if they are actually looking at ground handling. But invariably, for those countries that are the same part or the same nature of the Gambia, normally ground handling is centralized as a government activity.
Okay. You want to say something?
Yeah. Before Chairman, Nabi, I want to share. Before Chairman comes, I want to know, Nabi, we can use the paracetamol in the current issues that is going on GIA. We have management of GIA, and also the newly board is also around. And the MD has said something that is very important, that without ground handling, GIA is at 0. And you've also clearly stated that all these issues of liberalization of ground handling, you will never inform or put in the picture or even seek advice to. As a new board and the management, what immediate mechanism do you people put in place so that your voice will be heard against what is imposed, I may say, what is imposed onto GIA on the current issue of ground handling? Because we know that these are the happenings that are facing public enterprises. You know, a fly-by-night order or messages or accord agreement would be laid onto these PEs, onto only the masses of you being suffocated. So as management and the board, what immediate solution do you put in place so that you'll be heard to the authorities that have made this?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Okay, I just wanted to come back on the security question and help the committee perhaps a bit. In relation to the new entrant, satisfying security requirements rests with the ensuring satisfactory compliance rests with the regulator. So it might not be an issue as such until it is found wanting, but it can be looked at the other way. If GIA, as is happening now, is deprived of revenue and its financial restraints, that can compromise the ability of GIA to comply with the requirements, security requirements. So that's a disadvantage on GIA. We cannot argue that if you introduce a new entrant can pose a security threat. That's up to the regulator. But we can see that the situation is weakening GIA and putting it at a disadvantageous position and incapable of meeting the requirements. And that is plausible and can be defended. In relation to the other aspects, we all know the principal mandate of GIA is to fly. But the situation doesn't permit that. And for the past decade or so, it's been like that because of the exorbitant cost involved, etc. And government is not in a position to assist GIA in that respect financially. So the main source of revenue, as has been stated and demonstrated, has been ground handling. And from the reports we've received from management, already this year, we've seen a big incursion into this market share on ground handling, meaning that up to 40% of the revenue has been lost already. Lost already. And this is likely to increase. What we as a board have agreed with management is that officially this has to be tabled before government. And we've requested that management writes to the ministry, copies the relevant authorities, Office of the President, as well as the State-Owned Enterprise Commission, because we signed a performance contract with the State-Owned Enterprise to show this situation and the repercussions, adverse repercussions it's going to have on the company. And that's already, we agreed that within a week or so, that should be done, and it should be followed up. Unfortunately, the representative of the ministry on the board is not here today. He is constrained, has another commitment, but we take it that that will be followed up.
Yes, Chairman. I have a follow-up to this question. Chairman,
yes.
You are not very much worried about the security component. But one thing, one typical scenario, probably if the private company is owned by people in Europe, West, particularly German and others, and in a situation whereby we have these backway boys that they want to repatriate to the country, and they are responsible for ground handling. That is, they are independent of that of the GIA, and they gave them the opportunity to bring those people without the notice of the country. Don't you think this can be confrontational sometimes?
No. Any flight that comes into the Gambia has to get approval.
Yes.
And the requirements, the regulator has that obligation to ensure those requirements. For the ground handler, I mean, he is not in a position or has the power to authorize flights or anything beyond the ground handling. And each of the ground handling companies or any other company that operates in the airport will have an agreement, concessionary agreement with the authority, the GCA. and they will also be required to have their security plan, and these will be tested. And I'm just saying that that can happen, but what can be demonstrated and clearly stated and shown is that it will pose a problem for GIA, to the disadvantage of GIA, but also nationally in terms of security. Because if you don't have the resources, normally you compromise first on security and safety to cut down your cost.
Yes, board chair and management. As you have said, the board and management are in preparation to write to the authorities in the area of this concern of grant handling. I want to put this to you. In experience, that's what we do normally see. I'm not saying that the board also may not be cooperative with the management. Sometimes you see certain P's where the management will say this and the board will say that. This is an interest to GIA, where that's the primary revenue funding part, that is grant handling. I want to advise to the board and management so that you could work together to make sure you pursue this. And I'm telling you for free that you will have barricades along the line. We have interest groups, and these are very clear evidence in some of these happenings of signing contracts that is unknown to even part of government. You call the Ministry of Justice, they'll tell you we're not aware. You call other relevant states, they'll say we're not aware. So I believe the board and management work together to follow this. And if necessary, whatever move that you're doing also, you inform the committee so that we could also participate in seeing that our national assets are really protected. So I indulge you your commitment and that of the board to pursue. You will have difficulties. I'm telling you this. Expect unexpected. Wherever you put, they'll tell you X, Y, Z, but keep pushing. And if it's necessary, put us in notice as a committee so that we can all participate to see that our national assets are really protected. And yeah, if that issue is not in line, at the end of the day, we end up closing GIA. And this is what we are seeing, certain PEs that are happening. You call, they'll tell you that we're not aware. Justice will tell you, do you know this? No, we are not informed. This is part, do you know this? We are not informed. So who? What is going around? So I believe so you could work together, both management and the board, in making so honest this is done and you make proper follow. And now we have a commission. I think with the commission also, it will also be another impact.
Thank you for the advice.
Thank you very much, Chair. With regards to the same grant handling, because it's like the MD is saying that there was no consultation with regards to the contract signing. My question also, as why it's possible, what is GIA's benefit on this grant handling? Are they paying anything to GIA with regards to, after their service, is there any percentage that comes to GIA? One. I think the thing that I have seen here with regards to the chair, the vice chair, and also the new MD with your team, I think it is high time to start thinking outside the box, because you are forced to sign performance contract. And this performance contract are based on what? Your performance. And if the MD is saying, the chair is saying economically now, you are at almost 40% lost. And then we are expecting more than that. So will that not disturb your assessment when it comes to your performance? Because if they are not consulting you, and they are just doing things without your notice, and then when people will start blaming you that you are not performing. And when your hands are tied, how can you perform? So I think it is important for you to take your stand. As far as they ask you to sign the contract with the commission. The commission, the act was being approved here at the parliament. Now the powers are given to you also, because those powers that are guiding you, if you cannot perform, how can you be assessed? And then when they start blaming you that yes, at the end of the 5 years, Mr. Wyman said we are not performing, and they didn't go through to see what reason why you are performing. So I think it's important now for you to take the book by the hand and say, no, it will stop. This market must be regulated. Because we have a lot of cries from people, from the public, with regards to this ground handling. And then if you look at it, there is no benefit for the country, because those ground handling should have been an interest to government. But if GIA is not paying dividend to government, because you are able to pay dividend. And with this, I think we would have helped to pay dividend. Without this, how can you pay dividend? Because looking at your account, your financial statement, it's like you are running out of profit. You are running at a loss. So running at a loss, and then you have systems that can lift your interest. It's been also by an individual. It's not fair. So I think, Chair, it's important now you start thinking outside the box and then see, make it possible, because currently you are on a contract, and everybody wants to perform and then come up with the results. Thank you.
Go ahead.
That was a quick one. That was a quick one.
Let him also add, making it true.
That was a question with regards to are they expecting any income out of it?
Can the MD respond?
Yes. Thank you, Honourable Member. I think you are right. As the board chair rightly said, we've already met as a team, and we have plans in place to ensure that this problem is properly addressed. But I think it's important to bring to the attention of these honourable members the fact that currently, as the board chair indicated, we have two major scheduled airlines that have already terminated contract with GIA. And that means we have lost 40%, over 40% of our revenue. These things have actually been ongoing at the time before we even signed the performance contract. We've highlighted this thing out even to the ministry, but of course, what we were told is that if they go, we can always report it as some kind of variance from what has been said. So I think you are absolutely right. The performance contract has already been signed. Even before this, the new entrant was actually came into the market, we've lost handling ad hoc flights. Even the flights of our returnees. GIA is the one that has been handling the returnees that have been coming from the outside to the Gambia, has exclusively been handled by GIA. But to our surprise, that has stopped. And this new entrant, to our surprise, before even being formally licensed to operate, started handling these flights that are awarded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. How the circumstances evolve, we don't know. Who is behind it, we don't know. Who authorized it, we don't know. What I think is also important for this assembly also to be aware of all these things that have happened, and GIA faced those things, without actually going through the due process. So, as you said, it's in the national interest. You're not saying that competition is good. Any business, any commercial space, there's nothing wrong with competition. But if it is done in a manner that it does not disadvantage with all the parties that are involved, I think that is more ethical and is more appropriate to all the parties, all the players that are involved. And that's not what we want to see. Because we know that ground handling, looking at the figures, ground handling is almost 90% of our operations. So if that is compromised, I don't think the aspects of the performance contract can actually be, we can actually meet the requirements of performance contract. Or our performance can actually be judged based on what we are actually doing. So, but as we said, we will definitely endeavor to put things in order, to put our house in order. We will try and consult the necessary authorities. We will write where we need to bring attention as to the current situation. But I think it's of national interest. Anybody, including government agencies, departments also, it is the responsibility of every Gambian, to ensure that our public enterprises are actually preserved for sustainability and also for their contribution to social development. Thank you.
I mean, it's good to compete. Good to bring in competitors, but if you have people who want to compete and they are performing well, why should you bring competitors? Because you have the staffs, they are ready to compete. Why are you bringing somebody outside to come and compete with those staff? You're trying to hold their hands. If they cannot, it's just like two test dogs. You are there in the house, you cannot buy anything. Allow them to do what, I mean, the contract has already been signed for you to perform. Before bringing in somebody, give them the 5 years. If not, they are not performing, then you can bring somebody else. But you cannot tell this guy to sign this and he's signing, and you bring in somebody to perform and compete with him. It's not fair. Allow the guy to do his work on the number of years that he's given. If he's not performing, then you think outside the box and say, let us bring in somebody else. But currently you are telling this guy to sign this, and then next minute somebody is there to take care of 90% of his responsibility. It's not fair. So the best thing is, this is the committee that is here for you. Come in here and sit together and see what you can do as a team. We cannot do it alone. But honestly, we want you to pay the dividend. And we cannot be as a big committee all the time when our peers are not performing. It's like we are failing. Our oversight funds are for you to perform. The reason why that act was being passed here in Parliament is to protect you and then also guide the company. But now it's not paying dividend to government. And still the same government is signing contract without your notice. So how do you expect people to see you as people who are seriously doing your work? Next minute they start blaming you. So please do the needful and then bring it forward here so that we can do as a team. Thank you.
Yes. Robert, a different question. It's a different question, please.
A different question from this.
Yes. Let's look at
wait.
financial statement. You want to talk about this same question?
No, I only want clarification. Chairman, I want you to update us when was this private company, when were they given the launching? Do you know any date? When do they start operation? When are they launching?
They've started operating, handling scheduled flights from January this year. But as I said, they also handled ad hoc flights that were bringing returnees to the Gambia. We are not sure whether that period covered, whether they have been licensed at that point in time or not. But they have been handling before January.
Yes, Madam Chair. The financial statement, page 10. Let's look at the liquidity of the company, please. Right, and I try to look at your current assets against your current liabilities, and realize that it is a negative 57 million. I don't know if you have seen that. Yes, your current asset against your current liabilities, right? 58 million, right? Yes, and which means GIA is not liquid. One, go to solvency, your total current asset against your total current liabilities. 0. Have you seen that too? Do your calculation and let's do this together. Yeah, have you seen that, Finance Director? Yes. That's also 0, isn't it? So that tells us you have no asset. If you are to settle all your liabilities, there is no GIA, the Gambia has no GIA. Honorable Chair, we have a serious thing in our country. If all our liabilities have to be settled today as we stand, the entire GIA properties, entire assets are going in to solve that liabilities. That's what is happening as a country. That's what is happening. We don't even have to discuss all other things. This is where the problem comes. something must be done immediately. Otherwise, there is no GIA. Your total current asset is equal to your total current liabilities, which means you have a very high debt burden. And your current asset against your current liability is negative 58 million. This is what we have as a country, as a GIA. For ground handling and other issues, those are just issues that we are confronted with now. But this is the major issue. How do we take care of this? And I think the board chair will put an attention to this and to see this as an emergency and an alarming issue for us to sit and take care of it. And our chair of our committee, they have a response to that?
Yeah, allow them to respond.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Member, for raising out that issue. Yes, you are right at this point in time, which is 2021, because we're looking at 2021 accounts. At the time, GI's liquidity was very poor in terms of our ability to settle our short-term liabilities. This has improved, of course, over the years. Currently, if you look at it, we are solvent. But what is most important to also look at is, if you look at the borrowings that you can see on the page on note 15. These are the non-current liabilities. That's the same page on note 15. On note 15, some of these liabilities, because they are long-term, have been imposed, and some are government-related loans. They have been imposed on GIA, for quite a longer period of time. Even relating to what he has actually been saying, that money over 86 million, 18 million, that relates to also the aircraft, that is owed by the government. And the government actually is not paying that. And this is a government institution. Those borrowings that have been imposed on GIA in the form of loans, in the form of regime, are also imposed. So invariably, all these things, will definitely have an impact on the liquidity of GIA at some point. So I think all those things also need to be addressed. We cannot just look at the operational liquidity of the company, but we also have to look at some of these legacy loans, which relates to the government, that are imposed on the institution, and if these things are actually lifted by the government, because most of these loans, the way they have actually been imposed on the institution, is not in the right course of business. So I think also that needs to be considered. And I think that has actually been addressed out, but has always been ignored. And I think it's an opportunity for the Assembly also to note that when we are reviewing the account, some of these loans, we have to find a way of seeing how they can be waived by the government, or at least some form of assistance. Because otherwise, the way they were actually solicited was not in the normal course of business, actually. Thank you.
Can I ask this question? Do you have any strategic approach in making sure that these loans that are here are resolved by the government? Can we be convinced that there is a lot of effort done in terms of correspondence, in terms of approach, so that we can also know that you have tried up to this level, but they still keep on appearing. And if somebody look at it at this level, you will not be convinced that you are even fit for a purpose to be in existence. So, but as we speak, the perspective is changing, as you rightly said. But we also have to know how can we also chip in to make sure that we talk to the government together with you, even if there could be an internal arrangement, both the commission, the finance ministry, and GIA with this committee, to look at it, how do we resolve these issues.
With regards to the loans from the intergovernmental loans, there has been a series of communications between us and the ministry. At one point, I remember, we did have this cross-section areas offset, where we had an offset between our loans that is owed to government and other loans that are owed to other institutions and the central government. That was done, but it wasn't sufficient enough because yet still we had some areas. So there had been a committee established by the government to look at these loans. And some of them, for example, like the social securities, the ports and GRs, we have a payment plan with them. And right now we are honoring those payment plans. So that is one thing that we are doing to reduce these debts. But again, I think it's very, very important we put this into perspective, why these debts have been here for this longest time. I think going back into other years, GIA, we had problems, of course, but we had been liquid. We had been liquid before COVID. That has to be very clear. We had been liquid before COVID. And when COVID struck, it's about 8 months, that the airport was closed. No revenue was coming. And we are very grateful to the central government. If they did not support us with the 21 million, we would have been a different story. It's very difficult to manage a business where revenue is not coming. And you have overheads that you need to pay. I think that is not something that we have to put across. That's one of the reasons why we have these liabilities in our books. Because in the normal business, we would not have this. No management and no board would want to have assets in your book of this nature. No. So I think that's very important you mentioned that.
Thank you very much. I mean, on the same page, I think, the point that was very important with regards to liability and assets. We have seen a difference. But I mean, if you look at the cash and bank, and then also you come down, you see overdrafts and loan. It's like the overdrafts and loan has consumed the chunk of money that you have in the bank. So comparing the two figures, your difference is at the bank as of 2020 was only $2 million. Because looking at this, it's like you are only holding money while you are owed people. So if you knock off, it's like the amount that is still here is meaningless, because currently you have the cash and bank is about 29 million. And you come down, look at your overdrafts and loan, almost 27 million. So knocking down the difference is almost $2 million. So it's like cash at bank was only $2 million compared to what is being stated here. So I think, as I always say, when it comes to financial statement, it's always difficult for me to come up with financial results, because like it's from 2020 to date. So there's a big difference. So I think, it is important now we start praying to the board chairs and then also the MDs to definitely see what they can do to provide us with the current financial statement, because that will help. Because if you look at this, it's like you are not performing. You are not at a loss. You just there for the sake of being there. And things might change, and it's not into what we are having here. So, but I think looking at these two things is definitely telling you that there was no good performance with regards to this statement.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it on this issue?
No. Different question.
Okay, let me come this before. You can Mr. Chairman, I want us to go back to the management letter on page 11. Quality and safety, insurance. The auditors observe, if you look at the items underneath, there are two areas where I want to flag. That is airport plant, which stands at 34 million. Nothing has been insured. And if you come to the building, 186 million, only 69 has been insured. So you have a deficit of around 116 million. And according to your response, you took note of it, and 2022, this should have been addressed. So I want you to give us a situational report in connection to addressing of these things.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. You are right that there was an insurance that was actually reported in the financial statements, which is not appropriate. But looking at our current situation, we have an insurance policy in place, and all our airport plans are fully covered. Thank you.
I want to look at two things so that you answer them together. The first one is your cost of sales in 2021. You know, as we were in COVID by then, and page 16 of the financial statement. Yes. Your cost of sales is moved from cost of sales, page 16. Yes, your cost of sales moves from 51 million to 53 million. That is from 2020 to 2021, and we were in COVID. What leads to the rise of your cost of sales in this period when there were no busy activities, operations? And can you please tell us about that?
Yeah, I think you can see 2020 to 2021 is a recovery period for COVID. I think you would have gained a better insight if at all in 2021, 2019 accounts were presented compared to 2020. Because from 2020 to 2021, when some recoveries actually started, which means that there were some operational activities. And invariably, of course, the cost will definitely increase. So that led to that cost, although it's not significant, because that also commensurates with the level of operational activity. Thank you.
Okay. The second one is on the management later. The prior year issues to be implemented. Page 16 of the management later. That is go to 3.8. Hajj deposit account. Hajj deposit account. I could remember very well. This issue has been discussed in our previous engagement with you, and it has been repeated again. That is the Hajj deposit account. It has been recommended for management to avoid using this account on operational activities in 2020. And 2021, it has been repeated again. Can you tell us about this?
At that time also, you know, we could pay back these borrowings, I call it borrowings from the Hajj account. We could pay them back, and we did pay them back. When it's time for Hajj, we see that these pilgrims will be flown without problems because the finance is there. But we took notice of that. 2024, you will not have this issue of borrowing from us, because based on our international IATA, that's the global regulator, it says that the airline industry will pick up from 2024, and it has money, apart from this problem of competitor. If not that, it would have been stabilized by now. But we have noticed that 2024, we've not taken anything from that account.
Okay. Can you provide us with the statement of accounts?
2024.
As per 2023-2024, are the transactions made for the recovery of this personal loan that you take from the high deposit account, so that we can verify this has been corrected or not? We will definitely love copy us with the statement of accounts for this high deposit account at the time of taking this loan and after the recovery. We want to see this transaction and verify to ensure that this anomaly is corrected. Can you please do that for us?
No, yes, I have a different option. Let's, the same management letter, page 17. Yeah, page 17. 3.11. Are we there? Yes, it's about social security and housing finance because of that staff's pensions not being paid. We want to clear this, as it says here, before 15th of every month, deduction is made. We want to know, as per the prior year till this account, how many areas is been made of a non-payment of staff pension.
Thank you very much, Honorable. For the social security, I think my finance manager is here, so he can confirm that we are very current when it comes to the monthly payments. So for the arrears, we do have arrears on social security. When you look at our financial statements, you see there. What we did as management was to engage these institutions for social security. It's not only social security and GRA as well on pay tax. And you know how these issues came about is because of the COVID. That's why the break in the contribution. But we've agreed with them. For social security now, every month we are paying $400,000 against the arrears. And for GRA against the pay tax, we are paying $200,000. That agreement is in place and we are honoring it every month. Thank you.
Yeah, now if I put this to a staff is no more working with you people and has retired, he or she is to go or seek for his pension. As GIA, how would you resolve that crisis? Because we've seen, we're vividly informed, Social Security, staff will be roaming on Social Security. We said, okay, the parent company didn't pay this, they have areas of X, Y, Z, they have not updated this. In terms of debt, what level, for example, in months or years of not payment, could you be able to specify how much are you currently owing to various pensioners or staffs working at GIA?
Okay, thank you very much once again. For the payment of pension fund, we know we shouldn't have defaulted. It's not right, it's wrong. But this is what happened is beyond our control. It's something that really happened that we cannot control, because if before you think of paying pension fund, you think of paying salary first. So, but the arrangement we have with Social Security, which is not even correct, but we try by all means to make sure that those that retire, the staffs that retire, they are able to get their pensions on time. How we do it, what we do, the areas that is owed to that particular staff, we calculate it, And then we write a check and send it to Social Security for that particular staff to have a check, to have this pension package. We do that. So none of our staff that's retired has not come with a complaint that is not able to get their pension form. So that is in place. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. On page 18, I have a concern here in which I want the finance guys to help me here with regards to your bad debt that we are written off. What was the reason of those bad debt being written off? Was it that there was no possibility of paying, or were you not chasing those debtors to pay you? What was the reason why they were all written off? And the amount is a very big chunk of money. Almost $13 million was written off. What was the reason why it was written off? Why?
I think these debts, they have been in our books for decades. And the auditors have pointed, the then auditors, they have pointed this, pointed this out to the management that these debts are not moving. So from our side, we've looked at these debts, and most of them we realized they are not into business. They are companies that are out of business, and even to locate their offices is difficult. So, and they have been in account for over a decade. So what we did was to put this to the board for them to understand that these things, they are kind of a toxic asset because we cannot get the money back. We send the recommendation to the board, and then the board approved that no, it should be written off. Because it cannot continue to be in your books, and you are showing it as an asset when in fact it's not realistic.
I think it's important, just as in my earlier intervention I made, that it's now time to start having performance bond and also advance payment bonds, because I thought they were bonds to guarantee what they were given. They would have somewhere to lean on to recover your money. But it's like there was something that was being given to you as an asset that you can hold on as a bond that is there to protect, or that's there to guarantee that they want taking the money from you. So I think it's important now, before signing anything or before giving up anything, let the person either come up with a bond, performance guarantee bond, and with his advance payment guarantee bond. These two bonds can definitely help you when it comes to recovery, because let it be taken from a bank. Because it's not you dealing with the individual now, it's now the bank dealing with the individual. In case they cannot pay, the bank will pay you directly. But if you are dealing with the individual directly, it's like you are just doing things without being protected. So, because if you had this 13 million, had it meant that it was paid, coming to the pyro here, your interest would have been more than $1 million. But now you are giving out 13 million for free, and then if you go to further onto your bad debts, there are bad debts that were there. So I think it's important to prepare those bad debts, to start preparing documentation that will definitely, instead of the company going out to hustle those people, let it be between the person and the bank. Because we are already getting something that is there to protect you as a listing algorithm. An agency or a ministry if possible.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Member. I think you are absolutely right. But as part of the reforms that we are actually putting in place now, the legal manager is actually working on putting some of those documents together, particularly in terms of the guarantees, performance bonds, and all of that. Even some of our vendors that we are dealing with at certain, beyond certain thresholds, these are some of the initiatives that we will come up with. Contracts that have been awarded to vendors beyond certain thresholds, they will be required to bring performance bonds and performance guarantees, advance payment guarantees, what we actually pay. And for individuals as well, of course, these guarantees will definitely be provided to secure any form of loans or credits that we are actually extending out to them. Thank you.
Page 18. Sorry, page 16, sorry. No, not on page 16, sorry. Page 13. Yes, 13, yeah. Yes, on the statement of charges and equity. No.
Financial letter.
Yes, financial statement. It's just a concern. You look at your share capital value in 2020. They're almost 34 million. And then if you come down to 2021, to 2020 at the end point, we are only almost 21 million. So it's like your loss has just taken everything. Yes, you talk about COVID that we cannot do away with, but I think now COVID is no more there. So with regards to your share, capital value, currently we don't know, but maybe you provide us with that to definitely know where you are, because if you look at the capital value of 34 million, and then you look at your loss, it has taken a lot of left from your capital. And then coming back to the following year also, the difference there also is big. So I think it's important to at least work very hard, and the MD and then the chair also, to definitely see things going the right way, because we know we already signed a performance contract, and we love to be working with you continuously based on your performance. But with looking at these things, I think definitely give you no help. But that's my advice, if possible, to work hard on this thing in case of tomorrow this thing will not happen again. Because management needs to work hard on this to make it, right, as you know. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I think this is it is quite important that you highlighted that, and we will work towards that. But in addition, I think what I just want to add relating to that, because in terms of the revenue that we are actually losing as a result of the current situation, looking at even the OIC summit that is even coming, which is was for May this year, being the national carrier and of course the major ground handler of the Gambia, our current situation has put us at a disadvantage, and due to those financial constraints, I think it is important that the government should be aware that our airport need to be strengthened, because if the OIC has to be hosted in the Gambia, there would be a lot of traffic in this airport, and of course ground handling, which would be very, very key, because people will be coming in and out, quite significant volumes. So looking at our current financial constraints, although we have actually engaged the government in previous instances in terms of the support, the necessary support that we may need to ensure that we support them in terms of handling the passengers and other necessary things, during this OIC that is coming up. So government's intervention is highly solicited around that end. Although we are working on our own side, trying to engage government agencies like the OIC committee and the OP to see how they can actually support to ensure that the necessary things are in place before the OIC summit actually comes up, which is actually scheduled for May. Thank you.
Yeah, before I want to just process on that point, only the last one here. With regards to the OIC issue, I'm not part of the organizing committee of the OIC, because I don't think that it's not appealing to government, because that's the only airport we have in this country. And this is the only place that all these people that we are supposed to land. If you are consistent currently now, and the OIC is just next door, when will you discuss and meet with the committee to start chipping in and then start to solve the problem? Then meeting at the last minute, we start issuing complaints that GIA is not doing their work. And then we are expecting high highly profile people to be in this country. So I think it's important, Director and for the board chair to engage government as of today, sit with them and discuss with them, let them also put you in, and then give you what you need. Because, I can't just understand. May is next door. Still, GIA is still complaining that there are issues. When we see that OIC will be hosted this year by this country, and then where is the landing point? It's only GIA, the only airport we have in this country. The management is here crying. It's not fair. So I think it's important to start engaging government by now, and then what they need for.
Thank you, Honorable Sir. Final question. That is on the activity report, way forward. 6.4 Hajj operations, Roman figure 2. Page 17. GIA can write a paper to the government, lobbying a very high and highlighting the importance of leaving Hajj service in the hands of few